What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you back to more Let's Play Pokemon Black and White 2. In the last episode, after finishing up in Route 2, we made it to Nuvema Town, roamed around, talked to a couple people, got some items, all that good stuff. We're going to be moving on from Nuvema Town, though, as there isn't a ton super interesting out this way. Now, actually, before I go any further, I should use a Max Repel. I'm going to assume that these 13 Max Repels will be enough to get me through the remainder of these routes as we go. But as we head into this area, we're going to have a number of trainers to go up against, so we're going to be battling all of them. There are only 2 that are here on the main stretch of the route, but the rest are going to be in the area that's connected to Route 1 that you actually have to surf to, that then leads on to Route 17 and 18. So I'm going to battle all these ones first. They're going to be pretty simple fights, but luckily they're not nearly as obnoxious as some of the other fights that we were dealing with in the last route, where they were like 5 super underlevel Pokemon. Now we actually got some cool fights here. We're going to be going up against a bunch of fossil Pokemon here. So Archeops is next. Okay, starting with a bang here. Now Archeops is of course a glass cannon, so it's definitely going to go first. But if I can knock it out, and luckily that was not a stab move, or at least get it really low, its attack power is pretty much halved. So this thing is going to be no threat whatsoever. And yeah, it is going to go down because its defenses are very, very weak. So there we go. A lot of experience there. Anorith's next. Keep continuing. There's a few items to be gotten around here that we're going to want to be going after. One particular important item that is going to be necessary for evolution, but we'll have to see if we can track that down. That's in the extraneous area, not really too much in this like immediate area as we go. Now, I got to be honest. I'm thinking that maybe I should stop off at Nuvema Town first before we head off over to Route 6, because it's just easier to get there. Of course, you have Sturdy. So I think we're going to do that first and stop over there so I can explain some things, and then we'll make our way that way. Did you just... I can't believe you. That's just mean. That was completely unnecessary. I mean, I guess any Pokemon can frickin' do that strat, but what the heck, man? That was messed up. I got a frickin' heal because of you. I can't believe you. This is also an opportunity for me to get as much experience on Tomoe as I possibly can before we head into the next area. But obviously, once we start getting into the water routes, I am going to want to mostly focus on using Kamina out there. So that's why I'm doing what I am doing. But there we go. Let's go on to the next fight, which is just a little further down. So again, I'm going to avoid using Surf here as we go into this battle. Or avoid using Surf, excuse me. Avoid the grass is what I meant to say. I don't know why I said avoid using Surf. Yeah, I think I'm just going to bypass Route 17. I wasn't sure if I was going to do that, but, you know, the more I think about it, the more that actually makes sense to do. Because why would I want to, like, go out onto the water route and then take the long way back just to go to Nuvema Town? That would be silly. I mean, I guess it's like, I don't know. I guess because of the way I wrote the guide, it would have made sense to just end it in Nuvema Town, and then we can officially say we've explored the last town in the entire region and not end it all on the routes and whatnot. But, I don't know. I think I would rather just... It's not like there's going to be a ton that's super necessary here anyway. I just go over all the stuff that's in this area really, really quickly. So, Granados, okay. And I think when we fight the strongest Pokemon here, which is probably going to be a Caracosta, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. I think we should be able to get Tomoe to level 73. But, well, I don't know if I want that matchup, though. Granted, I don't have really anything else. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go with Jack. They'll be fine. We'll just Aura Sphere this thing. It is much more physically defensive than it is specially defensive. Of course, it can have Solid Rock, which is going to allow it to resist a lot more, but because its special defenses are pathetic in comparison to its physical defenses, I think we should still be able to brute force through it. Indeed. And I mean, it definitely did have Solid Rock, because otherwise it would have had Sturdy, and then it would have survived that hit regardless. So, there we go. All right, that pretty much covers everything around here. Is there any hidden items? There are, so I should probably go after those really quickly. This lady isn't going to do anything for me, so I'm not going to bother with her. Actually, I can talk to her. We actually are going to get an item here. Is your Pokemon's HP all right? If there's no room in your bag, I'll give you this. Put it in your bag's medicine case. Well, thank you for teaching me about this and giving me the weakest healing item in the game. I appreciate it. I kind of love the continuity here of giving you some of the weakest items that you can possibly get. It's kind of cute. But okay, Now we can finally head into Nuvema Town. Welcome one, welcome all to the home of the protagonists of Pokemon Black and White 1. Charon's house is here, Bianca's house is here, and of course, the protagonist's house is here. And we're going to head on inside here first. Hello? Welcome home, dear. Did you find the friend you were looking for? Wasn't his name something like N? Huh? Excuse me, how embarrassing, mistaking a visitor for my own child. You're May? I am. I knew it. You look just like her. I know your mom. I met her when she was working at the Pokemon Center and I was a trainer. That's right. How are your Pokemon? You're always welcome to let them rest here. Aw, well, aren't you a sweetheart? Now, I'm actually going to head upstairs because we're actually going to get our hands on an item up here. And that item is none other than a King's Rock. That's right. We can increase flinch with this thing. And that might be actually really useful to give to my Flygon at some point because I have not been able to get my hands on one of those for quite some time. Now, that's the only thing in here, but we're going to head on over to the next house. So what do we got here? This one's Charon's house. So let's head on inside. Can talk to everybody in here. That's Aspertia City's gym badge you have there. Wow, so you were the first challenger of my son's gym. Thanks. A gym leader without challengers is just an ordinary trainer. In other words, thanks to you, Charon became a real gym leader. Let me give you this as thanks. We get a berry juice, just a really weak healing item, but it's still a nice gesture. Traveling is great. You encounter so much you've never seen and many things you don't understand. For each new thing you come across, you grow and change a little bit more. What about Charon's mom? Oh, so your name's May then. Wow, you have a Pokedex too. Everyone grows up like this now, don't they? I mean, I guess so. It just seems like it's the way that things work in the Pokemon world, but nothing up in Charon's room, so now we can head on over to Bianca's house and see what's going on over there. Going on with her, remember her stuck-up dad, who is apparently eased up on her a little bit. Let's say hello. I see, so you're on a Pokemon journey too. I'm quite impressed with you, and with your parents too. After always being together as a family and now not having you around, I'll bet... No, I'm sure. They're worried about you out on your own. Be sure to tell them all about what happens in your travels. Aw, he's grown so much. Oh, so you've also received a Pokedex from Professor Juniper. That daughter of mine looks at her Pokedex every chance she gets. She's always going on about the many Pokemon and many memories it contains. Yeah, I do like Bianca a lot. She's like a big part of like why I can't possibly rationalize liking this game more than Black and White 1 because she's such a great character, and to have her on your journey with you, she's really like, out of all of the quote-unquote benevolent rivals, like ones that aren't just outright dicks to you, she's my favorite in the entire series, without question. I love her to death. I think she's such a great character. Now, I think that's it for everything outside, so let's head on over here, and first things, I'm actually going to talk to Cedric here. Hey, May, are you meeting lots of Pokemon? There really are lots of Pokemon in the Unova region and the rest of the world. I made the habitat list so people would know that. I'll bet you're here because you're here to show me how your Pokedex is coming along, right? Yes. I see. You caught 26 Pokemon then. Nationally, there are more than 600 Pokemon. You'll have to be persistent and catch them at your own pace. Well, that's right. I completely forgot to give this to you in Aspertia. Here, this is the Super Rod. And cool. Now we can actually fish for some of the highest level Pokemon in the game. Not that I'm really going to use it, but hey, we will take it. Water and cast, I can concentrate when Pokemon... Yeah, okay. Very, very simple. So how fishing has worked in pretty much every game up to this point. Now, let's talk to Professor Juniper. Why, hello. Thanks for coming clear out here. It's surprising how far Nuvema Town is from Aspertia City, don't you agree? Did you take Sky Arrow Bridge and encounter a lot of Pokemon? On that note, how is your Pokedex coming along? Can I see it? Yes. Let me see. You've seen 269 Pokemon across the Unova region. That is an excellent Pokedex. Just a little more and it will be full. Keep up the good work. Something I'd be delighted to give you if you meet every Pokemon registered in the Unova Pokedex. Check every corner of the Unova region for Pokemon. Do your best. Okay, remember how a few episodes ago I was talking about how I am not going to pursue having seen every single Pokemon in the Unova region. This is the first step to getting a reward from Professor Juniper. If you have seen all 297 Pokemon in the Unova Pokedex, excluding Victini, Keldeo, Meloetta, and Genesect, you get a permit, which allows you to fly from Mistralton City to a place known as the Nature Preserve. Let's discuss the Nature Preserve a little bit. So this is just kind of a little area, sort of like the Safari Zone, except not really, because you can just roam around this place freely. And when I say fly, by the way, I don't mean fly on your Pokemon. You need to actually fly with Skylar's plane. But if you land here, there's a couple of items here. You can get like a rare candy, a big nuggets, things like that. And then there's some Pokemon that are floating around. You got Golduck, Noctowl, Girafarig, Nuzleaf, Altaria, Kecleon, Fracture. In the rustling grass, you can find Audino, Shiftry, Dunsparce. In the water, you can find Buizel, Basculin, Magikarp if you go fishing, things like that. It's all kind of nice, but the main reason to go to this nature preserve is because there is one special encounter there, and that is for a shiny Haxorus at level 60. Completely for free, and if you happen to knock it out by accident, you can get it to respawn once you have beaten the Hall of Fame, the Elite Four, and register in the Hall of Fame again. This thing, however, can have either Rivalry or Mold Breaker, so you're going to want to make sure that you soft reset every single time until you catch one with Mold Breaker. It has Taunt, Dragon Pulse, Swords Dance, and Guillotine. Now, obviously, I already had a Haxorus that I had named Bathory in my last playthrough, so I'm not like super itching to get this. It's cool, it's a nice bonus, but it's not what I'm after. It's not my main thing. Now, there are, of course, more steps to this. If you catch all 297 Pokemon in the Unova Pokedex, you then get the Oval Charm, which doubles the likelihood of finding eggs at the daycare. Honestly, if you're running back and forth while trying to farm eggs at the daycare, you're already going to get plenty of them. But if you have the Oval Charm, you're going to have more eggs than you can possibly carry at any one time. It's absolutely nuts. However, there's one more reward. If you can catch all 636 Pokemon in the National Dex, that's when you get the Shiny Charm, which is consistent across most of the games. The Shiny Charm doubles the likelihood of running into shiny Pokemon. How much of a difference is this? Well, that's not actually all that great. Actually, I should say it technically triples the chance in a way, although it's still not super great odds. So the normal chance of running into a shiny Pokemon is 1 in 8,192. The Shiny Charm ups that to 3 in 8,192, or roughly 1 in about a little under 3,000, let's say. So that is how you get that. You can run into more shiny Pokemon after the fact. This full list that you need to catch, though, does exclude some Pokemon. It excludes Mew, Celebi, Jirachi, Deoxys, Phione, Manaphy, Darkrai, Shaman, Arceus, Victini, Keldeo, Meloetta, and Genesect, a.k.a. Pokemon that are exclusive to events from Generations 3 through Generations 5. All other Pokemon in the National Dex can be caught by normal means, but those Pokemon cannot be found in any way in all 3 generations without events. So they did not want to include those in there because that would have just been a little too unfair, especially if you're not around for those. And, well, that's about it. Now, I do want to make one more clarification. I did say that Tepig, Pignite, Emboar, that is the one line I was never going to be able to encounter during my playthrough here. That's not technically true. Vullaby, Skitty, and Baneri, and Rufflet are also not found under normal means, but all of their fully evolved types can be found, and what you can do is obviously just breed them to get the original types. However, all of those versions, Pokemon are also version exclusive. So Vullaby and Mandibuzz I could not find in this game. Rufflet and Braviary cannot be found in Black 2. Skitty and Delcatty cannot be found in Black 2, and Baneri and Lopunny cannot be found in White 2. So wanted to just kind of reiterate that. Now, obviously, Lopunny and Delcatty can be caught in their fully evolved forms in Rustling Grass in the Central Plaza, or Park, I guess, of Castelia City, and then you can breed them to get those, but obviously that's a roundabout way of doing so. And then there's, of course, the Encounter bird, which we have Braviary, so I could get Rufflet, but Mandibuzz and Vullaby are out of the question. All right, that pretty much covers everything I wanted to do here in Nuvema Town. Now we can move on, and man, I was hoping to get through that small patch of grass without running into a Pokemon. And I should mention there is actually one new Pokemon that can be found here on Route 1, and that is Farfetch'd, but it can only be found in swarms. No other circumstance can you find this thing. Now, I'd like to land all of the Pokemon beyond here too. Okay, so he is telling us that we can now proceed onwards, and we are going to do just that. So let me use a Max Repel in my bag here, and we're going to get a move on, because we got a lot of ground to cover, I guess a lot of water to cover, here in the following areas. So, oh my gosh, I immediately ran into something. Are you freaking kidding me? Ay, ay, ay. Stupid freaking puddles, and also because I wasn't paying attention. Gosh dang it. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Let's keep going. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually have to be very tactical in what what Pokemon I actually use in each of these fights, because we're about to go actually up against a number of ace trainers coming up here in a second. This guy. Okay, this guy I actually want Ooh, what do I want? I don't actually have anything that's really equipped for this fight, do I? Ugh. Ah! This is going to be awkward. I guess I could go with Kamina, but I don't know how well this is going to work out. We will see. Well, actually, I'll keep Tomoe out for the start of the fight. I think it'll be fine. This will also be the last fight of the video, by the way. So let's battle you first. Want to be like the trainers on Route 1? Wait, what does that mean exactly? Why would you want to be like that? First of all, you are on Route 1. Second of all, are you saying other trainers? I'm super confused. Anyway, starting with the Durant. Yeah, I really kind of actually wish I had Volcarona or Zoroark in this situation. Wow. Especially because of the next Pokemon that they're going to probably throw at us. We'll see what it actually is. One of these Pokemon I can handle no problem, but the other two are a little collar tugging. Okay, we got the burn. I'll take it. Is that going to be enough to knock it out? Not quite. Remember that Durant is like the fastest steel type in the entire freaking game up to this point. So a little bit scary in that way. But we should be fine. Knock it out. And that is going to push Tomoe to level 73. Okay. Cool. Espeon. I think I'm actually going to keep Tomoe in, and I'm going to try to X-Scissor this thing because, well, physical defense is its weakness. It is going to hurt really bad with its psychic damage. But luckily, we should be able to tank that. If it crit, we might have been in trouble, but I don't know. Let's see. Can we knock it out? Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. I am not going to keep Tomoe in for the last Pokemon, though, because that is a Honchkrow, and I would much rather Kamina just wipe this thing out in one shot. Honchkrow is a very good Pokemon that I am a big fan of, and really wanted to use in my Platinum playthrough, but it was legitimately impossible, because you can't find that Pokemon in that game, and it sucks. It's such a fun Pokemon. Really good base stats. I mean, it's much more of an offensive Pokemon. It's actually kind of a glass cannon in a ways, but it's got some, like, decent HP for its type, and then its physical attack is, like, surprisingly great. So, I like that Pokemon, but all right, guys, that is going to be it for this episode of Let's Play Pokemon Black and White 2. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this episode very much. And the next episode, on to Route 17 we go. See you all then.